Hi everyone, Akvile here from Expedition Cruise Network, and we are back here on board the Oceanwide Expeditions ship Hondius, and I'm very lucky to have Sarah here today with me. So you are relatively new to the expedition cruising world, as
Yeah,
in you traveled for the first time on board an expedition ship to Antarctica just this year, right?
December.
December, yeah.
Yeah, in December
Yeah.
just passed, and oh my God, it's an experience like no other. And I've been so desperate to get out there, purely really for my own research, because I was bitten by the polar bug, as it's so aptly called, at a conference in Lima, actually hosted by Martin.
Yeah.
So I I just remember sitting there and looking at the itinerary for the day and what we were going to go through. And I remember there was a couple of hours dedicated to polar for the first afternoon session. And I remember looking at it and thinking, not really very interested in that. And then a couple of speakers came up and they were so passionate about what the product was, where they bit more really about their experiences, where they travelled, and that was it. I was gone. So of course, came home, went on every ship visit I could, joined the ECN, which has just been incredible, and yeah, I've just got it's my baby now, and I think I'm properly invested in it, that I'm going to take it further and hopefully build a really good career out of it.
Fantastic. And can you tell us a little bit more as well about your business and the company you work for, and sort of what type of trips you sell, and
Yeah.
just your kind of journey in general?
So I set the business up with my mum in 2002 when I was 8 months pregnant.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
I actually worked on the day that I gave birth and then went straight back to it the next day as well.
Wow.
So we started it up and we kind of quickly established ourselves as luxury travel, tailor-made. And obviously there's a perception of luxury, isn't there?
Yeah.
I think we've always had like a higher end clientele, high revenue clients. We offer the service, but what's so important is we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's what we've always prided ourselves on over all the years. So of course, to then get involved in a project like Polar,
Yeah.
I need to know everything there is to know and to see it, to be able, because so often the clients that you have will know more than you yourself when you're so new to it. And that is the importance of obtaining the information and the experiences and doing the ship visits and looking at the maps and seeing which wildlife is, focused here, there, and wherever, and just knowing what you're talking about, really. But if you're interested in it in the first place, that is your first stepping stone, because it is a niche product and it is something that you need to know an awful lot about. But if you're genuinely interested in it, then you can go so far.
Absolutely. And you've been doing some interesting things as well. You were teaming up with the expedition cruise operators and running some client events, and that's one of the ways you sort of engage with the clients.
My original the mind block that I had at first was, number one, I thought it was all about the ship, and number two, it was very much, well, where do I get these clients from? Because they're bird watchers, or they're wildlife watchers, or they're, different interests. And it was a real challenge as to think, but where do I find these clients? And then when I actually went to Antarctica, I was so blown away by the fact that there were so many different types of client on board, in terms of, I mean, we all made friends. We ended up having a big group with lots of wine, and that was great. But there were 5 ladies from Australia who were all in the 70s, single. The husbands had sadly passed. There was a lady from America who, again, her husband had passed. All they'd ever wanted to do was see a penguin.
Okay.
So they'd taken the brave step of doing some research themselves, deciding where they wanted to go, and then actually doing it. but there were honeymoon couples on board. There were an awful lot of international clients. What I've found with Oceanwide on this ship, it's very much got a European focus,
Yep.
which I think is lovely. And also, I think the client events are so helpful because it's not necessarily marketing to your own database, which is what I've always done. Yes, there are people on your database that will be willing to engage in this and interested. And bizarrely, most of our clients that do are, again, they're in the 70s or 80s. They've got disposable income, but they want that experience. And that's, they've worked hard and they want to travel and do amazing things in their later years when they're not so pressurized. But the previous event that I did, we managed to get one of the speakers, Tudor, who came and helped us. He was amazing. And we actually had 30 clients attend, and they were all qualified leads.
Okay,
and only 5 of them were actually from our database. The rest were the way that I've marketed it and put it out there. And there was a lady who travelled on, I think she'd been on board Antarctica 21 the year before. So again, all different clients looking at different experiences, but it's being there and being able to give that information and assure your clients that you know what you're talking about.
Excellent. And now, after you have, obviously we're still experiencing the Oceanwide. Can you think of who is the right client for this ship? Would you sort of, have you got a mental image of who would be the perfect person for this trip?
I think for me, it's people that are interested in history, that are interested in culture. It's not commercialised in any way, shape or form. It's the family-run business. The guys that have been doing the lectures for us, they've all been so spot on, professional but personable at the same time with their own experiences. I feel like it's quite intimate, and I just feel like it's very relaxed. It's not, you haven't got the big chandeliers and the spa and what have you, but on the intellectual side and the research side and the scientific side, you've got the most incredible expedition team that are there to guide you 24/7 as to what you should be looking at, where you should be landing, which birds you're going to see. And that is what true expedition is about, isn't it? Exactly. In my eyes.
Exactly. Oh, well.
So I think it's amazing. Big thumbs up.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this short interview. And let's enjoy the rest of our trip. And we'll look forward to another afternoon here.
Trip.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.